Okay, so you are ready to hit that record button. Here's some things to think about when you make that screencast. So, tip number one, don't stop if you make a mistake. I know that I'm going to come back and edit this later and I'm going to find dozens of things that I probably should have done better. Now, two ways of looking at this. One, we're all human. We all make mistakes. We're all going to stumble and stutter over some things now and again. That shows you're a human being. Now, if you completely mess something up and you click on the wrong tab or you start talking about something in the wrong order, don't worry about it. Just pause, control yourself, get back into it by continuing with your screencast, because later on you can use a video editor to come in and chop out the parts that you don't need. So relax, okay? Those things can go away later. Don't waste time starting the screencast all over again. Take 7 and so forth, because you're just going to waste a lot of time. Do all in one take, and you can come back later, take out the stuff that you don't like. Tip number 2. In the flipped classroom world, there's an unwritten rule where you should think about making videos for students that are no longer than 1 minute per grade level. So if you teach 4th grade, you should be aiming at about 4 or 5 minutes per video, because after that, your students start to look like this. So don't make 30-minute videos. Nobody really wants to watch a 30-minute video. If you look for things on YouTube that you want to learn how to do, you want to know how to do something, if you see a 7-minute video and a 3-minute video, which one are you going to watch first? You're probably going to watch the 3-minute video, because if you can get through that content in 3 minutes, it's going to save you a whole lot more time. Tip number 3 is to think about the option of recording with a partner. Okay, so this can make it a little bit more lively, a little bit more entertaining. If it's somebody you get on with well, it's a great partner who maybe is going to use this video anyway, why not both of you create it at one time? You can bounce off each other, have little jokes back and forward, take turns explaining things so one can have a break, and the students get to hear 2 voices instead of 1. So recording with a partner might not be an option for everyone, but definitely something you should give some consideration to if you are willing to try it. Tip number 4. Think about having good audio for your screencast. Now, the truth is, unfortunately, that when we use the microphones that are built into our computers, it's not always going to give us the best quality. So if you have the ability to plug in an external microphone, whether it's a USB microphone or like a 3.5mm headphone microphone, do it, because it's going to make a big difference to your audio. You can do it on mobile devices, you can do it on laptops, you can do it on Chromebooks, doesn't matter. External microphones will make your audio sound better. And there's been studies that show people will watch bad video with good audio as opposed to good video with bad audio. They don't want to watch that. So give your students the best quality they can get by using some kind of external microphone. Tip number 5. So this is one that I thought about recently. It only just came to me. But all computers have this built-in accessibility option here. Now, in the accessibility settings, you can increase the size of your cursor. So if you're using your cursor to point out things on the screen for other people to see, why not make that a little bit bigger? So you can do this in Windows, you can do this in Mac OS. On an iPad, you can go into settings, accessibility, and turn on something called assistive touch. And that gives you like a big circle that you can move around the screen to show people where you are pointing and clicking. So make that as obvious as you can. You don't have to go crazy big to get these things larger, but if you want people to notice what is on your screen, increase the size of your cursor. People will be able to follow where you are, where you're clicking, and what you're doing a little bit better. Tip number 6. So this is about using a combination of text and images and video as part of your screencast. Now, traditionally, if you look on YouTube at screencasts, you'll see very much most of them are just one thing. They're just recording your screen. Now you can spice that up a little bit with some tools. They'll let you add a webcam. And if you've read through some of the materials from the class, you'll see that some tools do offer you that option. But you can spice it up and switch between text. You can switch between images. You can switch between a webcam, kind of like you're seeing in this video here. So here's an example of what text could look like. You can break it up into bullet points so that you are synthesizing that information for students to look at line by line. And you can make it appear line by line if you put it into some kind of slide deck like Google Slides or PowerPoint. It can appear line by line as you talk about it, or you can bring them all up here at once. Here's an example of a map. So having some kind of visual stimulus when you're talking about something, just to give students a break from text or to give them a break from the webcam. Throw in an image now and again to do that kind of thing too. Tip number 7, if you have this functionality, this might be something worth experimenting with when you are recording a screencast, and that's to think about doing inking and annotation. So I know a lot of Chromebooks and a lot of Windows laptops have a touch screen, and that gives you some unique abilities to draw and annotate on your screen if you have a tool that allows you to do so. If you're wanting to write something and you're using a laptop, don't subject people to your chicken scratch when you're using a mouse. It is not a very easy thing to read or for people to do. There are things like Wacom tablets you can use instead of a mouse so that you can just write on a touchpad and it will appear up on your screen. Otherwise, there are definitely a lot of great apps on the iPad that will let you annotate over things if you want to draw with an Apple Pencil or a stylus and things like that. So for a lot of those math equations and science equations or things that just look better when they're drawn out, think about how you could annotate that and make that come to life with digital ink. Okay, tip number 8. What if you used a green screen on some of your screencasts? Would that get students interested and wanting to watch your video if you were in a different location every time they watched one? I bet it would. It's easy to do. All you do is stand in front of a green screen, film yourself, and then throw it into a video editor later to get the effect you need. Tip number 9 is about zooming in and out of your screen. This is a great way to call attention to specific things that you want students to see. Now, ordinarily, you might have to use some complicated screencasting software to do something like this, but I'm going to give you a quick tip here that will let you do it for free with no extra software. All you need to do is use the accessibility options that are built into your device. A Mac has it, a PC has it, Chromebooks have it, iPads have it. They all let you zoom in to specific parts on your screen. It's meant for students with low or limited vision, but you can use it in your screencast to help draw attention to specific things on your screen. And tip number 10 is just to be yourself. Be engaging. Maybe have some fun with it. It's something that you want students to watch and students to listen to. Study after study will tell you that students tend to prefer watching their own teacher in a video than watching another teacher in a video. So that's something to think about. Be yourself when you're screencasting and you will definitely have a lot more fun. I hope you enjoyed these tips, something to think about while you are recording your screencast. I look forward to seeing what you guys come up with as a result of learning some new things.